What's up, BookTube and AuthorTube as well? I'm going to try to flow with this, and I don't know where it's going to go. I could maybe end up sounding like an idiot, and if I do, I guess we'll just chalk it up to the game and we'll go from there. But the topic that I have today is I want to talk about, or maybe a better way of putting it is I want to think aloud about dating and books. And not necessarily dating books or books about dating, but relationships and books as well. So kind of where I'm going with this is, what do you do, or how does it work if you're dating or you're in a relationship with somebody who is not the avid reader or the writer that you are? If they're not into it the way that you are, how do you cope with that? Because I find that to be like this really interesting dynamic, and I've been trying to figure it out because, for me, when I'm reading, maybe not so much as with writing, but when I'm reading, I need to really focus because I'm the kind of reader that if I'm reading, I'll sometimes miss stuff, and then I'll end up having to go back and reread something that I read before and should have picked up, but for some reason I didn't pick it up, and now I got to go back and kind of relive it to help it become better embedded in my memory, so what comes later in the story actually makes sense. So I need a little bit more space to be able to read because it's just hard for me to multitask and read, and I'm a very notoriously slow reader, as I've talked about many times on this channel. And then there's the writing part. And with the writing part, I definitely need time and space to be able to write. And so that's one of the reasons that when I write, a lot of times it's like late at night, especially if I don't have to get up early the next morning for some reason. And so that's why a lot of times on the weekends, on like Friday night or Saturday night, if I'm not out doing something, which a lot of times, unfortunately, I'm not, well, fortunately or unfortunately, I guess it depends on your perspective, I end up doing some late night writing. Now, when I was much younger, I definitely wrote late at night a lot more, and I would read late at night a lot more because it just made more sense. It was easier, and when other people were laying down, or they're going to bed, or they're flat out asleep, that's when I'm sort of hitting my stride in terms of writing and reading, but especially with the writing. So you start to think about that, and you put these pieces of the puzzle together, so to speak, and you wonder, how do people cope when they have relationships, and yet you're a writer, either by trade or by important, significant in your heart hobby. So how do you cope with it? How do you find the time to be able to do all those things you want to do, to keep up with your writing, to keep up with your reading, and to yet still have that personal life so that you can keep that life balance while still being able to do the things that you want to do that maybe don't necessarily involve human company? Now, I would imagine if you're dating someone who's also an avid reader, then maybe that makes it a lot easier, and then it's just game, set, match. You don't have to worry about it because everything is good. Your significant other is flowing with their reading while you're flowing with your reading, and you occasionally chat a little bit, or your significant other is flowing with their writing, and then you're flowing with your writing, and you chat a little bit here and there. But you're able to be productive from a reading and writing standpoint, while it's still at the same time being able to enjoy a healthy relationship. So it's like trying to balance all these things out. So many things that are competing for your time and for your energy. And that's like the balancing act that I think a lot of people strike. And I'm just curious how some of you out there are striking that balance so you can get done your reading and your writing, especially those of you who are booktubers and authortubers. How are you able to do that to make sure that you're still getting all the things you need to get done for BookTube and AuthorTube, not necessarily for the videos, but for the enjoyment that you get, the pleasure that you derive from reading and from writing, and being able to read and complete stories, and being able to write and complete the stories that you want. So it's a significant balancing act, and I'm still a work in progress, and I'm getting to be old. You can see the gray that's coming in the beard. So I'm still trying to figure out how the game is played, to be able to play the game and yet have a certain type of balance that's going to make you not only be productive, but to be happy and yet have a well-rounded life at the same time. So what about the rest of you out there? Have you been able to figure out how to strike that balance? Or maybe some of you don't have that issue because you do have that significant other that's involved in reading or writing. Or maybe they don't necessarily read and write so much, but they're curious about your passion for reading and writing. And so in that sense, even though they're not actually doing it, they're appreciating and they're interested in what you're doing. Now, maybe you guys have that situation. Some of you out there have that situation and it's working for you to a certain degree. And if you're able to find that, that's really cool. So how many of you out there, booktubers or author tubers, are in relationships with people or married to people that have that interest in BookTube and AuthorTube? They share that interest with you. How many of you are out there? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm really curious about this. This is kind of an interesting topic that I just got home from work. I didn't wear this to work. I just put this on because I didn't want to, wear what I wore to work. And it just hit me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to turn on the camera, turn on the light, and I'm just going to flow and then just see where it goes, see where I end up. And so hopefully this is reasonably coherent and makes some kind of sense, so that I don't hopefully sound like a complete idiot by the time I'm done with this video, because I'm getting up close to the 7-minute mark here. But I'm curious what you guys are doing, and have you met that person that is like in sync with you in terms of appreciating your passion for reading and writing? Or maybe they do it themselves, and so it's just a perfect match, and you guys can have your reading and writing times and yet still have that fun time together. So how are you striking that balance between having a kind of a quote-unquote normal life and yet being able to do the reading and writing that you do, that sometimes require a little bit of solitude that can sometimes perhaps be detrimental to the long-term health and success of a relationship or of other relationships? So for some of you, for example, who have kids, I know a lot of you out there who are booktubers and author tubers, your parents. Unfortunately for me, I did not have that opportunity, but others of you I know have had those opportunities. And so I'm just curious how you guys are balancing it as well, because that's a huge responsibility of being a parent and yet trying to do some of the things that you want to do as far as reading and writing, and the time-consuming thing that comes there. Maybe you just have no free time whatsoever, except the maybe 1 or 2 hours that you actually get a chance to sleep at night. So anyway, that's all. I'm gonna probably need to cut this video down right now because it's getting pretty close to the 8-minute mark. Actually, it's going to probably be over 8-minute mark. So anyway, just let me know what you think down below in the comments. Hit the like button for the video if you like the content. If you're interested in BookTube and AuthorTube content, then please consider hitting the subscribe button as well to support the channel. Likes and subscribes really matter to all of us out there in BookTube and AuthorTube. That's one of the reasons why I go around trying to engage with people, to take the time to watch their videos and then make comments and give them likes and subscribes, just to try to be a good community partner. So that's all I got. See you with the next video. Peace.